I got a fully loaded cartridge and thoughts of enemies. Rhymes razor sharp, that's that raucous energy. My heart pump Hennessy, veins pump Don Julio. Rock rubies, assorted color stones in the jewelry. Picture that, a nigga delegating with diplomats. Used to pitch nickel sacks, noggin, shit is stack, I'm on it. Defecating on your rap performance appeal. More than massive, fast, past enormous. I don't get excited, I get ignited. Burn like a brush fire when I write it. Barbed wire for those biting. Titan in the ring, Tyson when I swing python. When the mic's on, I strike home. Madre, know I'm a drug dealer. Tecate, sipping, my mug dripping. Compadre, still in the slug pilling. Nonsense, crippin' and blood spillage in the village. No remorse shown, no love given. My nigga.
F-A-S-H-A-W ain't know. You don't know how much trouble you ain't know. They just hustle, I hustle away. Don't say I'm done, just say I've done it again.
Homie. If it ain't the shells, it's the gazelles. If I'm not still in the cell, I'm out on bail. Dirty is what's under my nails off the rail. Young homie, you fuck up a scale, we hustle well. Count kale off of selling broccoli, never fail. Cocky, you can tell. Cock is to excel. Block, hats and bell. Look like I just ate rock lobster, all these shells. Shock, you looking pale. Why? Cause I prevailed a hassa for the mail. You hot, huh? Is it cause your pockets looking frail? Memoirs of a mobster, what it tell? Go pop like I'm Pharrell. Pop, pop, two rappers fail. I once was the poster boy for poverty until I hit the lottery. Po, something you gotta see. You niggas have never figured me out. I figured that figures is what the shit is about. Motherfucker.
F-A-S-H-A-W ain't know. You don't know how much trouble you ain't know. They just hustle, I hustle away. Don't say I'm done, just say I've done it again. F-A-S-H-A-W ain't know. You don't know how much trouble you ain't know. They just hustle, I hustle away. Don't say I'm done, just say I've done it again.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. I am so excited today because I have the biggest rapper in Fresno, not only in Fresno, in all of California and internationally. The man that needs no introduction.
Hi, everybody. Fashion, a.k.a. capital F. Yeah.
I wanted you to bring the mask that you wore with you, that blinged out mask. I want to buy one of those. Can we buy one of those?
I will figure that out. We'll figure that out and get you one. Yeah,
I mean, that is so cool. Who made you that? Was a fan made you that?
Yeah, it was a fan of mine.
I was like, that was nice.
Yeah, you know, yeah, good people out there. Trying to stay safe and gotta be fly at the same time.
And you definitely managed that. So I love your music, Strange Love. I'm sorry to talk about the old music, though, because you said that's an old song, Strange Love.
Yeah, Strange Love is an old record I did when I think I was still a teenager when I put that out. I think I was maybe 19.
Even when you did the music video?
I never done a video for Strange Love. That one I should have done one, but no, never done one for that one.
Oh, man.
You probably seen Down That Road if it was like a love song video or something like that. But yeah, love songs aren't really my thing, Yeah.
That was so good, though. So that was like your first,
Yeah, one of my first, I guess.
How old were you when you started rapping where it's like you started putting your stuff out there?
16 years old. Like my freshman year in high school, I already started having my things together, stuff like that. I had T-shirts and a logo and merchandising, and I already had the vision since I was young.
And what inspired you? I mean, I know how to always be Andy, but what was hey, I think I could be good at this. People started telling you are good at this. Tell us about the evolution of what has become your career.
Well, started out with poetry for me. I started out just writing in my journal and stuff like that as a kid, and then it became more tribal, A lot of my brothers were rapping and just immersed in the hip-hop culture. So out of all the elements in hip-hop, from breakdancing to graffiti to writing rhymes, I kind of found my element and just stuck to it, And yeah, it became, I guess, the best within my circle, and then eventually one of the best in, I guess, the world. Yeah.
Did you get trained? Did you do any type of training at all?
No training. I think I got most of my, the experience was my trainer. You know, the wealth of experience is what, you know, I guess comes through my music. But I had no trainers like that. Maybe some couple DJs and
or some agents or managers that kind of said do this,
or
that told you to go with somebody else.
Absolutely, yeah. I had a manager by the name of Aaron Hakimian, my Armenian brother. Got him when I was about 14 years old, and we stuck together for like a decade plus, and we made history together for sure. Yeah. We even started Grizzly Fest together, which is pretty big deal out here. So.
Yeah, that is so cool. But what's really cool about you too, it's like you said, you are known over the world, but you come back to your roots in Fresno. You have Central Cali tattooed on your hand.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and I mean, that's super cool because we don't have anyone that comes and raps about like Fresno, which is funny because there's so much history, there's so much stuff to talk about here.
There's a lot of material here.
And you're the only one doing it.
I mean, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of artists out here. It's just they haven't really been.
You're taking us to where people are like,
I'm
Fresno.
trying to propel the whole scene though. I'm trying to tell our story, not just my story, but tell our story. And but fortunately, I'm not the only one. There's a plethora of artists out here and talented people out here that's trying to in the same army that I am, telling the same story. So.
And you actually went to LA and did all that. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Mostly New York, but LA was like, I guess proximity wise, that was the closest thing for me. So I went to LA, Hollywood first, and laid my game down there pretty strong, and then made my way out east, and then just kept it moving. Yeah.
Okay, so you have to be honest. What do you think is better, East Coast rap or West Coast rap? And I say your honest truth, and not just because you're on the West Coast.
Okay, what is better between the two? I don't know. I think they kind of mirror each other in a weird way. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
They both have their own authentic way of telling a story, but I think it's still rooted in the struggle and just being black or brown. I think that's where it's really derives from. So I really can't say which one is better.
Because I really, when all that was going on, I was like, I really like East Coast rap a lot.
For sure.
Not that I don't like it here, but it's just I really had that. There was something a little bit more real or raw or something that I liked a little bit more. So I just wondered what your experience was and kind of how you felt. What was the difference of when you went to go do stuff there and when you were doing stuff in LA? What were some of the differences you experienced?
Between LA and New York, or just
doing what you're doing. So just in the rap world and the industry, what were some of the differences that you noticed?
I guess I felt like a small fish in a big pond out there. You know what I mean? But out here, I feel like, my presence is felt. When I go to a concert or a rap show or whatever. But when you go to LA or New York, it's like, who is this kid from Fresno and yada, yada, yada. And it's very intimidating. Yeah, the buildings, the industry it's pretty intimidating. But when I'm at home, I just feel like a normal guy,
What were some of the places that you went back when you could travel and when you were doing some tours? What were some of the cool experiences you had in some places you went?
Fortunately, I got to tour this year, right before the pandemic hit.
Nice.
So I got to go to Philadelphia for the first time. I've been wanting to go there for years. Almost didn't leave, not because of the pandemic, but just because of the people there.
You loved it.
I love Philadelphia.
Did you get a good cheesesteak?
Absolutely, absolutely, I did, and made some memories out there. It's good times. But other than that, I think Russia was the craziest place I've been. Went to Moscow, did a show, and did some graffiti on the train. I'm not sure if I should say that on camera, but. Yeah, it was very nostalgic to the New York train. So I'm like, you know what? Let me tag it up like I was in the Bronx or something. And that was pretty cool. Italy, I got to go watch The Godfather in Italian while I was in Italy. Pretty cool with the English subtitles.
That's super neat.
Pretty cool. New York, LA, Atlanta, all that. I love it all. Magic City. One of my favorite places on earth. It's a strip club in Atlanta, Georgia. Got to experience that. And, another level of talent there. So good times. And man, I had a plethora of experiences. So, a whole bunch.
So, what's it like when people all over know who you are? They like your songs. I mean, how is that feeling?
It feels really good. It feels good to know that my music connects with people around the world and it resonates with people. Just because I think I'm the more, I don't know, I'm just a normal guy, I guess, or whatever you consider a normal. I'm really chill, and my music reflects that. And I don't claim to be the best rapper or the hardest gangster or thug or none of that. I'm just me. And the people that it connects with, I'm grateful for them.
You do seem really grounded. What's helped you stay that way when you do go to all these places and everyone knows your name? What helps you stay the way that you are and be really grounded and down to earth and open? Down to earth, I have to say, probably marijuana. It makes me more social with people and more, I guess, more accepting for things and stuff like that. Some will say it's a gateway drug, but I say it's a gateway to love. So yeah, that helps a lot because I'm very, I have like a crazy case of anxiety and stuff like that, and I'm very shy. Just when the cameras are off, or even when they're on, I'm very shy. So marijuana helps a lot. Yeah, it keeps me grounded, keeps me closer to the earth. Well, and
all pun intended.
To have an ego though, so is that part of it, like too? Because you seem very like just like you said, chill, easygoing.
I don't know what an ego is. I don't know.
Well, some people who could really make it from a small town can go out and be like, and then come back with this attitude, like, hey, what's up? This is, and you don't seem to have that.
I think because that's not the, I think I kind of reflect my city. I think the city doesn't have that kind of energy. When you come to Fresno, it's not your typical California city. You know what I mean? It's very humble and it's very down home. It's almost country, if you will. And
right.
So I think I'm just a reflection of my environment. So yeah, that's Fresno for you. That's the east side. That's what it is. So if you wear too much jewelry and if you're too flashy, you will get robbed around here. And if you're too loud, you might get silenced out here. So I'm just moving through the industry exactly how I maneuver in the streets. Yeah.
Well, that blinged out mask you have, I would have taken that. I'm not
that
gonna
day.
lie.
That day I was being loud that day. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what were some of the experiences, your early experiences? And you said, I rapped about this. I had these experiences. What are some that you want to share?
Something that I haven't shared before. Let me see. I recently found out that I got sold to a dope dealer when I was like maybe 3 years old.
Really?
Yeah, like my sister told me recently that I guess some people that came to collect us, something like that. And so yeah, that was really weird. I never spoke about that in the music or anything like that because I just learned this recently because I was too young to remember anyway. But yeah, that was one thing that I can share with you guys. What would justify why I'm so gung-ho for attention now, and that's why I get it now from I guess my fans and like my followers and listeners, stuff like that.
What was growing up like?
It was colorful. It was very colorful. Very interesting. Didn't have a father around because he was in prison, and my mom was addicted to drugs. So that kind of left me to create a universe of my own.
And your siblings, you said you had a sister. Were there other siblings that you had that you were close to?
Yeah, my sister, probably the person I was closest to. My sister Tasha, shout out. And my older brother Vito, and that's about it. It's just 2 siblings. Yeah.
And so today you guys were just super close and.
Nah. I haven't seen my sister in years, and I've seen my brother maybe twice this year. Yeah, but love him dearly.
Aww. Yeah. So what happened with your parents as far as as far as your father goes and as far as your mom's concerned?
Well, my father, he, I guess, fell victim to the street life, and he succumbed to that, and just couldn't shake it, and yeah, lost his freedom because of it.
Did you ever write him?
No, I didn't. I never really wanted to. I never understood what that relationship should have even been like, so I never really longed for it, stuff like that. So no, I never wrote him, nothing like that. One time we had a court date together when I was a kid. And,
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty random, right? Like I was in there for, I guess, child CPS stuff. Like, you know, they take you away from your mother and you have to go through court and find your family and stuff like that. So one day I went to court for that, and I hear the people call the names, and I heard my father's name, and that was like the first time I ever heard his name like out loud. You know, it's pretty weird, but yeah.
Oh, wow. And then what about your mom? What had happened with her, or as far as you know?
Well, she's sober now, you know, but then she was wilding out. She was wilding out, and yeah, they put me in the custody of my uncle, you know. Luckily, I didn't get adopted by some random people. I basically got adopted back into my own family, so that was a blessing.
Do they all know about your success? Is everybody?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's hard not to, especially out here. Like, I know you've been gone for some years, but I've been all over the news and the front page of the B and all types of stuff.
I didn't know if they hung around here still or whatever to still even know.
Absolutely. From my dad to everybody, like they know what's up. Everybody know what's up. Yeah.
How do they respond to that you've heard of? How do you hear, like, I mean, do you even care when you hear that they are excited about it? Does it make you a little excited?
I feel proud because I try to make them proud. That's the main goal, just to make my mom proud and my family proud. You know, that was the first goal. So after I knocked that out, I'm like, all right, just after that was accomplished, I was like, let me just kill things now. Just let me be the dopest I could be, you know. Just for my sake, just for, you know, for my own joy.
Was it hard getting to where you are now? I mean, were there a lot of bumps along the way before you became the success that you were? Or
yeah, absolutely. A lot of polishing before I became this jewel that you see today. But it's all part of my progression. It makes me who I am today. So shout out to all those bumps and bruises and those losses, because they were just lessons ultimately. So it makes me a better me today. So.
Is there any you want to share? I mean, did you ever have an agent that robbed you, or an opportunity that was missed because somebody led you into a different direction?
Never had an agent that robbed me. No.
People have different stories where it's like.
Nah. But I did get robbed one time. Well, I thought I got robbed. This was the funny story. Thought I got robbed. I was living in a halfway house with my mother and a bunch of convicts, something like that. That's, you know. And I was 20 years old, had a daughter on the way, and my first album on the way at the same time. And I had this opportunity to go to Los Angeles to work with Exile, this producer, to do the intro to my first album. So the day that I was leaving, I wake up that morning and realize all of my stuff is gone all of my clothes, my money, my wallet, everything is just gone. And but I still had to leave. I wasn't gonna stick around and be like, yo, who took my stuff? And I didn't even stick around to figure that out. And so I just left to Los Angeles, and my girlfriend at the time bought me a wallet, put some money in it, and was like, get out of here, go follow your dreams. And yeah, I'm still with that girl to this day.
Wow, that's super cool. Since you were 20?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we were together years before that, but yeah.
That is such a sweet story.
That's one, I guess, little wrinkle in my cloth right there.
And so how many kids do you guys have?
Just one.
Just the one daughter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Practicing on more, but just one.
That's a really good story. Okay, so you said you thought you were robbed, but you weren't.
Yeah, so I came back and realized that my mom was just high. She took all my stuff and put it way in the back of the backyard or wherever it was, like behind the trees. And I'm like, the crack could be the only explanation for that is drugs. So yeah, that's what happened. So came back to all my stuff, all my belongings, and yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Tell me about it. Yeah, story of my life.
Did you finish high school or did you?
Nope, I did not finish high school, but I basically, what's the word? I stayed until like they kicked me out. You know, I didn't drop out, but I stayed until like they kicked me out. Like I didn't have enough credits to graduate, but that didn't stop me from going to school. You know, and but I basically segued out of high school into the music industry. So I went from like I said, I sold my first mixtape my freshman year in high school. So by senior year, I was already I guess a well-known name out here, you know, in the hip hop community.
So was it the Armenian guy that discovered you? At what point
No,
are you like, I'm good, I'm better than others? At what point did that
That's the
happen?
thing. I already knew about my brother Aaron. He was a pretty well-known manager out here, and he managed a few artists that I was familiar with, and so I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm just as good as these guys, or maybe better. Maybe you should manage me, and I had to go scout him. And
So you knew in yourself, and you're like, I'm going to pursue this because I just know I'm good. That's good.
Yeah, and he was working with Kanye at the time. Kanye was working on College Dropout. It's for his first album, and so he was in Los Angeles working with him, and I was out here just calling him every day, like, yo, pick up. Fashion calling you. I got something special, man. Come check me out. And eventually he picked up and ended up making some records with Aaron, and yeah, the rest was history.
How did you get with some of the people you've collaborated with? Because when I was watching your old YouTube videos, I guess, who's that one guy that's with you a lot? There was like a guy that you were rapping with a lot. How do you get with these people you collaborate with? There was like a white guy that you were collaborating with.
Probably Evidence from Dilated Peoples. Evidence is one of my favorite MCs from one of the most iconic groups on the West Coast, or just in hip hop in general. And I got hooked up with him through my Fresno brother, Planet Asia. Planet Asia was very instrumental in making that happen. I was in Los Angeles, and he called him. He said, yeah, I'm sending Fashion over there. He didn't ask him. He just told him I was on my way, and that's how me and Evidence's relationship began. And you know what? That guy's helped save my life too, because after I left to LA when I allegedly got robbed, he offered me a place to stay. He was like, yo, you shouldn't even go back to Fresno. You can live with me, and you can stay in Venice, and you can do your thing out here. So that's why me and Evidence are so close. If you see him with me a lot, because that's like my brother. You know
And you
I mean?
actually stayed with him. And
Yeah, I live with him, and yeah, it's like family to me. Yeah.
So I always ask people this question: who were you surprised that was a huge fan of yours, that like you were a fan of maybe growing up, and then they became a fan of you, that surprised you or really sticks out?
Dr. Dre or Snoop, either one. Dr. Dre and Snoop, like those two were like gods to me growing up in California on the West Coast. Like when Dre invited me to go work with him, that was like the biggest thing ever. And then when Snoop invited me to be in a movie, do music, do shows with him, like it's just really cool, you know. It's really milestones for me. Like when those people said it, really wasn't good for my ego. Like when they said I was dope, that's when I guess when I could say I got an ego, for sure. But yeah.
Okay, so they were like that for you. Are you like that for somebody now? Is there any young people that you're kind of managing, or like that you see a young you that maybe you're helping?
There was a kid out here that was really amazing. He passed away recently. His name was Be Nice. Really incredible artist. I'm actually going to the studio to, like, after this, to go help with his what is it called, a posthumous album, posthumous or something like that.
Oh wow.
So yeah, going to go make sure his legacy straight, you know, make sure they.
What had happened?
He died from epilepsy.
Oh man.
Yeah, but he was a beautiful soul, and yeah, he's still with us in spirit. So yeah.
So what's the work you're most proud of, or is there something coming out we haven't heard yet?
I think the work I'm most proud of is probably the Ecology album. That's like my favorite album out of my whole catalog. It's the Ecology album, executive produced by Nas, and I think that's my like my favorite album.
What year was that?
I think 2014, 15, something like that. Yeah, it's a while ago. Yeah, but recently put out the song called "Born in America," just inspired by the climate of the country right now, and I'm really proud of that. As far as like my recent work, I'm really proud of that. So, but I didn't really get the chance to promote it like I should have, because like I literally put the record out and then I was in a car accident the next day, like a crazy car accident.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh my.
And yeah, off the 168 and like the Shaw over there.
Oh my. What happened?
Long story short, was going too fast and flew off of the freeway, and my car flipped, and I'm lucky to be talking to you now. With all my limbs intact and my brain intact, and yeah, hopefully I'm still handsome.
Oh my.
But other than that, yeah, that's a good record. Born in America. For those watching, go check that out. Give your boy some streams.
So what do you think about the things going on in the country now?
I try not to think about them, and I try to go on about my day, but it's polarizing. Watching the stuff on TV and just seeing what's going on in the streets, it's really you can't ignore it. But yeah, sometimes I wonder if my life matters, you know, all the time, especially when I'm off stage. Maybe on stage it does, but definitely when I'm off stage, when I'm just walking around, I feel just as helpless as any other black man out there. So, yeah. or American for that matter. Yeah.
How do you think it is, like in the Central Valley, like compared to other places that you've been? What do you think the experience is different, worse, better, the same?
I think in Central California, as far as people who look like me, I think we're a very small percentage out here. I think we're a very small percentage of us is out here. So it's like, I don't think we experience it to the level of someone that, per se, like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or in Minneapolis or something like that. I think like my run-in with police officers have like I've never experienced injustice with police, like personally. So yeah, I think it's probably elevated in other places more than it is here. I would say so. But it does exist. It does exist. Just because it didn't happen to me doesn't mean it hasn't happened. You know what I mean? I have friends that it's happened to, and some are gone and some are still here to live to talk about it. But it's a real thing.
Do you feel pressure to be like some type of role model for like all these issues or stuff, or people ask you, or do you just kind of want to be left alone and like the music speaks for itself? Where do you feel like you're supposed to be, or what kind of mouthpiece are you supposed to be for your community?
I feel like if you're black and you become a celebrity, that like, I don't know why, but we automatically become like just representatives of the whole community. You know what I mean? We become like politicians for the whole black experience. And yeah, maybe that's my job, or maybe not. Maybe I'm here to show people how to dream further than color and further than ethnicity, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's not every artist's obligation to do that, you know, every black artist, but if it's in you, it's in you. You know, my grandmother's name was Blanche Hampton, right? In the Hampton family, if you know about Fred Hampton, the chairman of the Black Panthers in Chicago, like, it's just in our blood to be revolutionary, to speak out against oppression, against ignorance, against all that stuff. Like, that's in my nature. It's in my that was put in my name when I was born. That was like, my name is my GPS to where I'm going. So yeah.
That's nice. So where did you come up with your stage name versus your birth name? How does that happen? I've always wondered.
I got my stage name from a song from this artist named Rakim, and he has this line where he said, "My fashion lasts long as a lifetime. I see the planet when I write rhymes or something like that. So yeah, just snatched that from that song.
How old were you when that came? When
I was 10.
so this always been like you already knew that's gonna be.
No, I didn't know that. But when it was time for me to choose a name, that name just stuck in my head. So Fashion, because it's nothing like my real name's polar opposite. Yeah.
And so what ethnicity are you?
I am African American and Latino American, aka Afro Latino.
Do you feel like gives you some? I mean, do you like being like from two rich cultures? Do you feel like that really kind of helps you be a little bit different in your own way, or like
black of the berry, sweet of the juice? True story. No, I think it makes my perspective a little more unique. Like when I put my game down, when I put my pen down, because I'm not just speaking for, not just for black people, but I guess for all melanated people, all colored people. You know what I mean? It's not just speaking for the Mandingo, but I'm speaking for the Mayan. Not just speaking for the Zulu. I'm speaking for the Taino. Speaking for them both. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I get to represent two beautiful and powerful cultures, and I get to make them harmonious and feed it to the world. So
can you speak Spanish at all?
Piquito.
Have you thought about rapping in Spanish?
I have. I've done projects and songs with a couple Spanish artists. But I don't think I'd take it that far. Do a whole full project in Spanish. I don't think I gotta figure that out. But I'm open to it.
So what is next for you? What is something that we can expect, or something, or someone you want to collaborate with, or just something different, another vision? Because I'm sure this year's kind of been one of those reflective years where people kind of, if you didn't have a plan, you weren't sure, people put stuff into motion where it's like, no, I'm going to go in this direction now. What is something that we can expect from you?
I think I'm going to go into filmmaking. I think I'm going to write some movies and write some scripts for, maybe not starring it, but I think I'm definitely going to get behind the camera for like the next chapter of my career.
You want to do
behind the boards and
your
produce
experience more. Or like just other stuff?
My experience, my friend's experience is just there's a lot of stories that I want to tell that I don't think a 3-minute song will help, you know. So I think I'm gonna expand on it and just make movies and maybe start a film company. And I'm producing now, I'm producing for other artists, and yeah, I'm behind the scenes a lot more. So that's the next chapter for me. Might be doing some tours if the world opens up again ever. Would love to hit the road again, but other than that, I'm just trying to not get in more car accidents. I'll be fine.
Is there anybody that you want to collaborate with that you haven't yet?
I would like to collaborate with Treehouse Masters. It's one of my favorite TV shows on I think Animal Planet. Yeah. I want to collaborate with Treehouse Masters and put like tree houses in every hood, like really cool tree houses, and like so maybe we can,
like instead of Pimp My Ride, it's Pimp My Tree House. Like,
absolutely.
I like that. I loved that when I was a kid. I had 2 tree houses.
And I can host it. I'll be the host, and there we go. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen some of those elaborate ones. You could like live there.
Especially in Central California, we have a lot of ground to cover out here. So
that's so cool. That's not what I was expecting from you, but I like it.
I think his name was Pete. That's the guy from But anyway,
as far as tours go, what was one of the best tours you ever went? Who was it with?
Oh, Rakim, the guy I got my name from. Rakim. We toured Europe together, and it was his first time touring Europe in like 20 years, and that was the best thing ever. We got to do Paris and Spain and Germany and London and stuff like that. It was really cool, and it was like felt like I was on tour with my father. You know what I'm saying? That's like the man I got my name from, and OG Rakim, Mount Rushmore hip hop, and so that was a good one. Oh, Wiz Khalifa, that was probably the craziest tour I've been on. Wiz Khalifa tour. Let's just say that was a highlight of my life. Very highlight.
So who would be next on the tour list if you could tour with anybody?
I'd like to tour with I like to tour with Salt. This is a group called Salt. I don't even know what they look like. They're just phenomenal artists. I like to tour with Salt, Doja Cat, and Wolf Mother. It's like this rock band. They're pretty sick. Rat King, if they ever get back together. What's this guy's name? Vicente Fernandez. If I did a show with him, I think, or a tour with him, that'd be crazy. But yeah, who knows?
Did you ever find out what Kanye thinks about you as an artist?
No, I haven't. But I did find out that he has a guy named Fashion in his crew. Yeah, so he already has a Fashion. He doesn't need another one. So shout out to Yeezy. And yeah, I love to work with Kanye. I don't know why I never say his name, but I love to work with Kanye. But he's on some other shit now, right now. Excuse my language. But yeah, Kanye, Jay-Z, of course. I want to work with Erykah Badu.
Have you met them?
I met Erykah. I've met probably everyone else I named except Jay-Z, but yeah, I met Doja Cat at a gas station in Echo Park randomly. No, it's a true story.
I believe it.
It's a true story. And this is before she blew up and stuff like that. I was just walking through Echo Park with Exile and Blue, and yeah, she recognized us before we recognized her. She was like, "Oh my God, Exile," and then turned around like,
"That
oh, shit,
would be awesome."
And I'm like, I don't know who this girl is, but she's cute. Exile, who is this? She's like, "Yo, that's Doja Cat from Lamert Park." I'm like, cool. Fast forward, pew, you know, yeah. But
you have so many good stories. You could just talk for hours.
I could, but you know, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on my show. I mean,
my pleasure.
This is so cool. I love it. I can't stop listening to your music, and it's cool. I know you probably are laughing at me because I'm liking all your old stuff.
It's okay. If
Not all like your new stuff. There's so much to cover with you.
There's a lot of stuff.
I haven't even heard them all.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, but it's good that you started from the beginning, though. So now you get to hear my voice change. So you're like, yo, yeah, this is go from sounding like a little mouse to sounding like a monster. Yeah, true story.
Thanks, Soojian.
Anytime.
And you gotta bring me that mask next time.
I shall.
I'm gonna wear them.
I shall.
Hi, my name is Drewish, and I'm the author of the Captain Love series. I want to tell you all about the second book, Rise of the Pirate King. Yeah, that's a thing. And in this book you're gonna get everything that you would expect from Captain Love. Yeah, you bet. And I'm blessed enough to be able to use an amazing creative team. If you know what I mean, if it feels like the universe is caving in and you need love to the rescue. And it seems like nothing will be right again. And love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. All right now. Now Captain Love is a space trucker and a former war hero. There is even a legend that he may be immortal. He's accompanied by Spade, who's a living AI. Yes, I said immortal. As in he cannot die. It feels like the universe is caving in and you need love to the rescue. And it seems like nothing will be right again. You need love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Oh yeah. In this book, you'll get space pirates, sexy girls and science monks. There'll be bar fights, space battles, and a lot of awesome junk. There's nudity and violence and swearing within, so this book is mature. That means it's not made for children. And you feel like the universe is caving in, there'll be love to the rescue. And it seems like nothing will be right again. There'll be love to the Captain Love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue.
Thank you for your time. Please back Captain Love and help me share this character with the whole world. And if you're not too busy, like and share this video and help me spread the love. Stay awesome.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. With us, we have Drew. Drew, tell us about the new Captain Love that is launching.
All right, so the new Captain Love is Chapter 2. It's of the book, the second book, which is Rise of the Pirate King, and I'm real excited about it because it is, you know, obviously it's the stories that I've been aching to tell forever. But you know, the adventure gets to go to a new place. Captain Love gets to be in like an actual bar fight. There is, you know, robots and adventures and a little bit more character development. The Captain Love series has been doing very well, and I'm excited to get this chapter out. So.
Nice. So how is this going to be different than the last chapter? Because what chapter is this?
This is Chapter 2. So, like, you know, the
We
hero
had
of the
first
cleansing.
launch, but the first chapter, was that just chapter 1 or?
Well, the first book was, you would say it'd be more like Chapter 0. It was backstory, right? And that was the hero of the
you were counting
cleansing.
the first book as the first story and then a chapter 1. So there's no.
Right. It's actually Volume 1 was the hero of the cleansing.
This has
So
been a
Volume
while
2,
coming.
yeah. So Volume 2 is Rise of the Pirate King, and it's 6 chapters. And Chapter 1 came out, what was that, like July? And then Chapter 2 will officially be released in the end of November, early December, when I do the fulfillment on it. And then, so the campaign begins now, which is basically pre-orders, where I raise the money to, you know, to get all the printing done and that kind of stuff.
So is this almost like every 6 months a chapter?
Actually, next year I'm going to try every 4 months if I can. It's pretty aggressive, but I'm actually going to try and get the book finished by the end of next year, which is, you know, all 6 chapters. So
Imagine if someone had a no shave day the whole time until it's fully released, how that would be.
you should have seen me before I trimmed my beard today.
They said, I'm not going to shave until that last book in the series. So is this going to be 6 chapters as well that we're looking at?
Yeah, this the Captain Love book will be Rise of the Pirate King is 6 chapters. So it will be the 6th chapter will be fulfilled and released ideally in December of next year. So it's really, you know, doing 2 this year. Hopefully we're going to be able to get 4 done next year. The Volume 1 was basically launched this time last year. So I mean, it's really only been a year since Captain Love has even been like on the market.
Only a year? It seems like forever that Captain Love has been in our lives. Okay, so since you're home, you have something you can show us, right?
I have lots that I could show while I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the here's the Chapter 1 book, right? And it came with, you know, the campaign came with trading cards and all kinds of special goodies. I'm not sure how I can show, like, I don't know if I can do a screen share from here or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm not exactly sure how that'll work with this. You
don't have a physical copy of the one with the
of Chapter 2? No, that's what the campaign is about. The campaign is so that we can pay for the physical copies. Right now, it's all ready to go to print. So
do you mind telling us about some of the challenges you face in the second book? I know you changed illustrators. If you want to elaborate a little.
Well, that's actually supposed to be top secret. Thank you for letting that cat out of the bag, Sparkle.
I'm going to cut it out.
Between this chapter, we still have the same illustrator as the Volume 1.
I didn't think it was a secret because they get credit on the actual book, right?
Well, no, it's see, the thing is, the secret is that we're actually going to be changing illustrators between Chapter 2 and Chapter 3.
Oh.
I've actually started working with a new illustrator, and so chapter 3 has the new illustrator. Chapter 2 still has the original illustrator. Their styles are very similar to each other, so hopefully no one's going to really notice unless they know.
Sparkle tells the world.
Unless Sparkle tells them and gets them all like looking for it ahead of time. Yes.
But I think it's fun because that makes it a challenge. Like, where's Waldo? It's like, I want to see, oh yeah, maybe he looks more muscular or less muscular with a new person.
Well, other artists, see, it took me a long time to find the right artist. I actually had to find an artist whose style was actually comparable to the previous illustrator, except this guy's actually better. You know, his style is actually better than the previous illustrator. So Captain Love is kind of improving. What's that?
I said I wouldn't have said that, but and you're saying I'm the one giving out the secret.
Oh.
I don't want to illustrate though. I didn't even told you the backstory because there's been some other big people that saw that and have a lot of interest. Like this one illustrator, James Marquez. He's worked for Disney.
Yeah,
and he saw your stuff and he absolutely loves it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. The first illustrator, he's really talented. You know what I mean? And there were I don't want to say anything negative or whatever, but there were some challenges working with him, and this.
It was more of a geographical thing, though, right? I'll tell the viewers, like a lot of challenges are like, when you're dealing with people in different time zones.
Geographical was some of it. I would say the biggest challenge with him was he was not as consistent as I needed. He was working on another project, and there were a few times when I would have to send the work back and tell him to change it, and then change it again and change it again. Yeah, and he was making the character look like somebody else and stuff like that, and there was just like silly mistakes that he was making, and we were getting into arguments over that. And so
but that happens when you're good too. You get busy with other projects, and he probably took on a little bit more than he can handle because he is very talented.
Well, yeah, he did take on probably more than he can handle, and it is what it is. It's one of those things where projects develop. I mean, there is no comic series other than Hellboy that I'm aware of that has never changed illustrators. And the reason why Hellboy is actually still the guy who writes it is the guy that illustrates it. So it's
that's why, yeah.
Yeah, so exactly. So imagine at some point he'll probably graduate beyond that, and if he ever retires from doing it or passes away, it might pass on to somebody then. But because he's still alive, it has not. The Captain Love series, it was important to me that if we were going to change illustrators, that it had to be somebody that would, be able to not only capture what it is that we have been doing, but be even better. Because it's like, if we're going to change illustrators, I don't want to just be the same. I want people to feel as though, okay, we're not cheated in any way.
Well, and then the character is going to evolve, right? So there is, even with the same illustrator, there's like an evolution process that happens through each chapter, right?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, there was an illustrator before the one that before that illustrator.
Right.
There was other illustrators, and then there was so it's just things do evolve.
Well, we trust your judgment because the illustrations is very great.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything to show on paper with the new illustrator that I could show like my phone, but that wouldn't do any good.
We'll show some stuff.
Yeah, there is the cover of chapter 2, which I sent you the image of earlier today for the promo image.
I love it.
People might be Now that is actually the new illustrator, the one that will be taking over for chapter 3. Yeah, and as you can see, the talent and the style is just slightly different if you're a very major connoisseur, but it's still the same kind of illustration style, the same kind of flow. Yeah, and it's the same colorist. So I'm using the same colorist, so it will still be as beautiful as always, the same exact colors. So
tell people that are just tuning in that haven't seen all of my shows with you. The process that goes, how you're launching every few months a chapter of one book, what goes into that?
Okay, so producing a single chapter is a lot of work. I mean, obviously you got to write the whole thing way ahead of time, and then you got to, go through the process of, explaining the panels properly so the illustrator is not wasting time producing the panels, and then there's the back and forth between the illustrator to make sure it's dialed in perfect, and then it goes to the colorist, and then once we have the whole chapter done, then we decide when to launch the campaign. Next year, hopefully I have it all scheduled ahead of time, so I'm able to hit those things on a scheduled trigger and get all 4 campaigns. Because if you think about it, a campaign, 3 months for a single campaign is really short. So if I'm trying to hit a chapter out in a 3-month period and then I'm starting another one in a 3-month period, I'm starting another one so I can get 4 done in a year, that's really aggressive. I'm hoping that I can do it. I mean, obviously I could fall back to just 2 a year if I have to. But I would prefer to get the book done so I have the finished product so I can keep the character coming out and keep the flow coming out. Most people are used to getting, the floppy versions, of the chapters, or what they may call issues. Because for other people who are more familiar with comic books,
chapter 1.
Okay, so if people who are more familiar with comic books, chapter 1 is issue 1. I don't know if you can see the number 1 there.
Right.
Is issue 1. So chapter 2 would be issue 2. Obviously 3, 4, 5, 6 or issue 6. However, the next book after Rise of the Pirate King, chapter 1 will be issue 7. Right?
I get it.
So there's ways to track it where you say volume is the compiled books, chapters are the issues of the initial book, and then the actual issues are the floppy format. So you know what I mean, and so it's basically people are used to like 5 or 6 issues of a comic series a year. That's what they're used to.
Right.
Sometimes they can do more, 8 to 10, depending on how fast it's produced and that kind of stuff. But 6 is kind of what people are usually used to. So I kind of want to get to that point sometime where I'm getting 6 out. But because of the nature of having to do it all, budgeting and having to crowdfund this whole thing, it has been crazy. And let me tell you, it has been an extra special challenge because people who remember the first interviews when we were doing Hero of the Cleansing, which is the first book, we were planning on doing a lot of conventions.
I know, right.
Yeah, that was my whole budget was all set aside to sell product at conventions, and we haven't had we've had one, what was it, 2 conventions, 2, was it 3, 3, I had 3 3 conventions total. So
oh my, and this is being sold internationally too. Tell us about some of like your fans in other places, what their feedback is. I've been wondering about that.
I have really cool fans. I have cool fans, and I get to interact with my fans online because I do promote my book on YouTube and Facebook, and I have the Indie Comics TV as well as the Horror Talk series. So I get to interact with a lot of fans in both of those environments, and then I also go on live streams and interact with fans, and there's live chats in those because we're doing them live. So there's a lot of that kind of interaction going on. So I get to hear a lot. Plus, they'll interact with me on Twitter. They'll message me on Facebook. I mean, so the fans have been growing. And the best part is they're really starting to get excited about Captain Love and what's happening next. And most people are still just kind of absorbing it because I mean, it's a new thing to them. So that I've heard some people really love the whole nature of the universe, that it's not too cheesy, it's not too superhero-y. A lot of people have been very fond of the villains. They like the villains that I've done, that they're I guess they like their villains to be really 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 evil. So
Oh my.
So And a lot of everybody loves the Spade character. That's one thing that people are like, oh yeah, we've never had anything like that before. No one's ever done that before. And I'm like,
And
yeah,
that's cool. I mean, that it's so cool to create characters that nobody has ever heard of or seen before. I think that's what keeps the appeal of Captain Love.
yeah. Well, Captain Love has a lot of stuff that's new and original. That's. I mean, if it didn't, I don't think I could do it. You know what I mean? If I felt like I was rehashing something that's already been done, I don't think I would be able to do it. I wouldn't have the motivation to sit down and write, and that's hard to do because you got to sit down, you got to write, you got to be creative, and you got to come up and you got to pull stuff, and it's a long process. I mean, you got to think about it. You're writing 24 to 36 page books. You know what I mean? That have to have a story arc that runs in sections, and then chapters are limited. So it's not like you're just writing a novel. It's like, okay, well, this is why I feel like I can just end this chapter. You know what I mean? You actually have a size limitation to how you can communicate.
I can only imagine.
So it does have a whole other kind of challenge. It's kind of like it's really interesting because I would say that being a songwriter and having writing films, screenplays, really kind of set me up for the challenge. Like, I thought that it would have been easier. It's actually more challenged than both those things. Being a songwriter helped me be a good screenplay writer, just because it's like you got to understand the format and the feel and the timing and that kind of stuff. So the rhythm of writing for a song taught me how to find a rhythm for writing for a screenplay. Well, finding the rhythm for having a screenplay is great. However, when you do a graphic novel, or more specifically, floppy version chapter comics, issue based, that you have to realize that you got a pacing that is not just what you want to say, but like you turn a page, you know what I mean? So like, what's going on this page, right? If you have 2 pages open, you want to pace things based on page placement. You know what I mean? So like when you turn the page, you get your surprises, you know what I mean?
Right.
When that kind of stuff comes up. And then you also have to time it out to where the end you have like some kind of cliffhanger but you still have closure. So it's
right.
It's a unique talent. I would say it's more challenging than writing a screenplay because you have to write something shorter, and you have to have more than just one tale in the 24 pages.
I would think it would be. I would think everything. I would think it'd be one of the hardest things to write because you have all the imagery as well that has to be perfectly played out in every scene. I can only imagine.
And the person that's illustrating it, has to have a good understanding of what you're trying to communicate when you're writing the illustrations. So it is a dance with the illustrator, because no illustrator goes in there and knows exactly what you're thinking. So you've got to find somebody who can interpret what you're, who has their own storytelling skills on top of what you're communicating. Yeah.
Are you guys ever going to do where it's in other languages, since you are so international, or is that something that's not really done?
Someday, when there's a demand for it, yeah, we'll do translation.
Do people do that typically with comic books? I know that kind of takes away
it's not very typical.
It takes away from the authenticity of it, right?
Well, no. What it is that most people read English, and so you know what I mean. So that's the more dominant market.
And then it doesn't become a collector's item. Like, if it loses authenticity, it doesn't become a collector's item anymore. If it
actually, the more unique or rare a specific comic is, the more collectible it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it comes German version, Drew.
And it comes down to who wants it. You know what I mean?
I see Captain Love speaking German for some reason. In my mind, he speaks German to me. Yeah,
well, maybe I don't. So I can't write it in German. It's written in English. And someday it would be awesome. Someday it'd be awesome if, like a publishing company or I had enough demand for it, wanted to do, international translations. That would be amazing. I maybe 4 or 5 books down the road, you know what I mean? After I've gone through, a good 100 chapters, you know what I mean?
Has anybody ever offered a suggestion to you about, I think this is where this is headed, I think you should do this? Do people ever do that?
Oh, all the time. People, I don't know if they're suggesting it or if they're asking if I'm planning to go there someday. You know what I mean? It's so it's
Isn't
like
it
kind of
kind of cool
suggesting
though that they're that involved? I mean, I kind of like. I mean,
I think it's neat that they're that involved. I think it's neat that they are seeing like these future possibilities in it, and they're wondering where it's going to go. I mean, everybody asked if love. I mean, in the first book, everybody asked if Love and Spade. I mean, we're going to have a thing, and I'm like, okay, Spade's just a software. You know what I mean? They're like, well, they can do a hologram projection. You can't touch a hologram. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you can in Star Trek. That's Star Trek. You know what I mean? It's so it's
you're
like,
already giving away that they're not going to have a thing, or are they going to have? A
I
thing?
know. Actually, I said maybe someday, maybe, but it's not in the immediate plan. You know what I mean?
I have some
I
ideas from that as well. I mean, since everyone's giving in their 2 cents, I'll tell you later how I feel like they could actually have a thing.
Yeah. Well, I actually like the dynamic that she's in his head, and they can't have that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It kind of makes for its own dynamic. You know what I mean? Like limitations. However, there are things that I could say now that would make it even more like, oh, really? You know what I mean? But I'd be giving so much away of what actually is going to happen. So it becomes one of those things where I want people to think that. You know what I mean? And it's not like I can say that it's never going to happen. It's just not the immediate plan. As far as the current story arcs that are developed, it is not happening in that. But I'm not saying that something is never going to happen. The truth of the matter is, Spade does develop feelings for Love, does have a crush on Love, does, love, but she doesn't experience love the same way that people do. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So, Spade is her own entity. You know what I mean? She experiences emotions, but she doesn't experience them the same way that people do.
This is so cool. I can't wait for chapter 2. So a lot of people that have bought chapter 1, have they already lined up to buy chapter 2? Because I would imagine I couldn't get one without the other. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, well,
for people that don't know anything about these, explain a little bit more to us. I'm sorry.
Well, ideally, everyone who's bought chapter 1 is on the mailing list because I have their email addresses for shipping. For the most part, everybody who's on chapter 1's on a mailing list. So they know that chapter 2 is coming. You know what I mean? So they know that they're going to know where to get it. They're going to be able to get it the same way. But there's also a large group of people that bought all chapters ahead of time. That's not available anymore. I've closed that perk, but there was what we call the executive producer perk.
Why did you close that?
Well, because it gets complicated for me as it progresses down the line.
I don't like that at all, Drew. I'm going to protest. Bring back that we can get all the chapters. Because what if someone experiences this tomorrow? If someone's watching right now and they're like, I must have every chapter.
Well, they can come back and get every chapter. The other chapters aren't, I mean, I understand what you're saying. And initially I went that way, but I kind of made these changes based on market, I need to, let me explain the complexity of this. Okay. So when I released chapter 1 on the chapter 1 campaign, I gave people the ability to be what I call an executive producer, where they could actually buy the chapters ahead of time before they're produced. Right, so they were buying not just chapter 1 as an executive producer, but they're also buying chapter 2, 3, 4, 5.
What does that mean,
6.
Executive producer? I'm sorry, I think in movie terms. So what are you talking about? Do you get
it basically is kind of like in movie terms style. As executive producer, they are putting up money ahead of time for books that are not produced yet.
But they don't get credit or something.
No, actually, the executive producers get their name in the final graphic novel in the back of the book. Yes.
I want that. I never knew that was offered. You never offered that to me. That's not cool.
So the executive producer perk, right, it was on the first chapter, the first campaign. And the whole point of that is that you could back just once, and then so like when the chapter 2 campaign is done and that fulfills, people who got the executive producer perk on the first one don't have to back it again. They're going to get a chapter 2 sent to them, and a chapter 3, and a chapter 4. And when all those campaigns end, they're going to get the book sent to them. They're first come, first serve. And then also when the book is compiled, so there'll be 6 chapters all in one book with extra art, extra stuff that wasn't in all the availability. That will come as a compiled graphic novel, and the executive producers will be in the credits in the back of the book with a special thank you.
Nice.
So,
well, I'm still sad I missed that opportunity because you never told me that.
Yeah. Well, we're tight, so you'll get it for free anyway. So whatever.
I wanted my name in it.
Oh. Well,
Drew, I wanted to know who has anybody read the book and told you, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they're a fan of mine. Like somebody that you're a fan of, or somebody famous, or somebody we might know that you were shocked has read your book.
Famous?
Or like in that world or another world, just someone that you looked up to, you were just shocked. Somebody that you were shocked that actually read your book that really liked it.
Not yet. Not yet. Maybe
because there are people in that world that I thought
there
are some good feedback.
I mean, there are people out there that I interact with that are big named guys, but I don't know if they've read the book or not. As far as that goes. Now,
but they said they liked it, right?
Well, yeah, like for instance, there's a famous illustrator with like 23 years experience. Used to draw Green Lantern, the Hal Jordan character in Green Lantern, and that kind of stuff. And he used to work major for DC. Now he focuses full time on the direct route level. The same thing, mostly crowdfunding, but he has his own project that he's done now that's not DC, not Marvel. It's his own, right? And his name is Ethan Van Sciver. He's major. He made over $1 million on a crowdfunding campaign for his book. Wow. Right, so he's like one of the biggest names in the crowdfunding.
I didn't even know that was possible to make that much. Crowdfunding. Wow.
Yeah, so he made over $1 million.
And so he's talked to you and.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've interacted through the internet, and he's had copies of both Captain Love and Chapter 1, and he gave Captain Love high marks on his live stream for his audience and that kind of stuff. He actually encouraged people to buy it, and he even said that when he opened up the package where Chapter 1 came on live, right? Because it was he saw that it was from me. So he opened it up because it had, Mystery Studios on it. So he opened it up for everybody. And one of the things he said is, I hope it's a comic book. He makes really great comic books. So.
Oh, I love that. No, because, I mean, it's no secret for everyone knows. I've used it as a gift because, I'm friends with people that they have money and I'm like, what do I give them that's unique and special? So I've given that as a gift before. Just random people that own boat shops, people that own different things. And they've all been like, wow, this is really cool. Thank you, Sparkle. And I don't know if they've even ever read comic books or a fan, but I just thought it was really cool. And I could tell they really genuinely enjoyed it. Cause I mean I always need that go-to, that creative gift. And so that was it. So I was surprised at the response that I got personally when I've been giving this out as a gift. So I was just wondering if you had gotten some interesting responses.
I have gotten all kinds of responses. I mean, due to the nature of the comic book is mature, you know what I mean? And it has like a sex scene in the Captain Love Here, the Cleansing. There's a short sex scene in Chapter 1. Sorry, folks, in Chapter 2, there is actually no true nudity.
Well, I'm not going to buy it then.
Well, Captain Love has a shirt off in it, though. He's in the shower. The shower scene with Captain
got
Love.
Me
it's
there.
Just, so okay. But there's no sex scene in Chapter 2. I can't have a sex scene in every chapter.
I know. I don't know why, but I get it.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's just because it's not porn. That's why. But however, this is kind of like a downer, though. So my stepsister, I actually sent her a copy of the book because I don't have my father's address to give to my father. And I don't communicate with my dad or whatever, but my love of sci-fi is something that I pretty much inherited from him. He's the one that, we used to watch Star Trek together when I was little all the time. It was like always on, you know what I mean? So like my love of sci-fi pretty much is like an inherited thing from my father, And so I sent him a book, and I didn't ask for a review. I didn't ask for him to respond back. He wrote me back and did not say, I mean, he didn't say bad things like the book was ugly or unattractive or anything like that. But he didn't really say nice things either. It was all kind of like underhanded, stuff. I think, I'm not even sure he wrote it. In fact, it could have been my stepmother, who hates me, could have wrote it. But basically they were like, saying that, because it was a comic book, he thought it was like designed for a 12-year-old boy, and, except that it had sex scenes. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of just missed the whole thing, but. So yeah, that's kind of a downer. So like my father probably doesn't approve.
Oh, we actually read it. That had to shock you to get that mail.
It was an email they sent. Yeah,
that still probably shocked
you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. And it wasn't a pleasant experience to get only negative. You know what I mean? From that. I mean, you got to think. The reason why I sent it is I figured if I had a son, right. Even if I wasn't talking to him or for whatever reason, and I knew he was an author and he had a book out, even if it's a comic book or a children's book or anything, right? I would probably be proud, just in general. It's like, that's my boy. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. But I didn't get that from my dad. So that's all right, though.
Well, we're proud of you, Drew. Where can we go and buy this?
All right. So when this airs, which, will, at this, you'll be able to find Captain Love on Indiegogo by searching Captain Love. In fact, you can go to Google and search Captain Love, spelled L-U-V, right? And most of the Indiegogo campaigns will come up on Google. So, but you can go right to Indiegogo, indiegogo.com, and search Captain Love. And all the campaigns will come up. You'll be able to buy the first book if you want. You can buy chapter 1 and have them shipped immediately. Or I'll have a perk on chapter 2 where you can, if you don't have the books yet, you can get both chapter 1, chapter 2, and the first book all sent together in fulfillment when chapter 2 fulfills. So.
Thank you so much, Drew. I'm so excited about this, and I know where I'm going to be going right after this. I better get an autographed copy.
You can, of course.
Thank you. So everybody
Pepper Pot
go out
says
and buy
hi, by the
Drew's
way.
book.
Yes, please. I could use the purchases, especially since there's no conventions going on. I need the online purchases.
Support your local indie comic book maker, guys.
And I wore this silly hat just for you. So.
Why, thank you. Thanks for coming on, Drew.
You're welcome.